on the boat dock, so I'm out on the balcony. Maybe I should go up to the balcony. There's another one above here. The bedroom balcony. Maybe I should go up there. Get a signal. I don't know. This is just a test. This is just a bit of a test. I really need to turn off my phone from vibrating. That would be a good thing to do right now. Oh my god! There's nothing simple to just turn. Yeah, can I put it onto do not disturb modes? Do not disturb. Do not disturb me. Do not disturb me, phone. So welcome back. Turn my phone upside. I don't know if this is going to kind of ruin things for you, but I just want to take it the other way, because then when I'm looking at the camera, is this going to work? Is it going to understand that I don't want to be upside down? Is it? Is it? Are we set? Are we set upside down now for life? Is that it? Cool. Let's see if we can just turn that around and come back to me. Yes, did it. It's just that the camera's on that side, and your comments come on this part of the screen. When I'm reading your comments, it'll look like I'm looking at you. You see? That's why they pay me the big bucks. So welcome to Jinja Island. I don't know if anyone is going to pick this up, because obviously I am a bit late getting started. It is 1:45 in the UK, by the looks of things, which probably isn't a good thing. Is it 1:45? Is it later than that? What time is it? What time is it? Let's have a look. It's past. Yeah, it's 1:45 in the UK. So so yeah. If we get anyone watching, I'll be quite impressed. We've got 3 people watching. That's cool. Hello, 3 people. Please let me know in the chat who you are. We'll have a little fireside. Well, we don't have a fire tonight, but we'll have a little chat here on the island. Obviously, I've just been having a look at the news, so we can scoot through that for the day. I wasn't particularly great at sharing news with you. Didn't really have too many hat takes this morning because I don't know. I was too busy being ill and boring you to death, telling you anecdotes from the road. And another fella, he said, "Hello, how you doing?" And I was like, "Oh well, you know." 6 people in. We have got one like so far, so that's good. So there's definitely people there. If someone could just type in hello into the chat, so I know that I'm actually, people can watch it, people can actually see what I'm saying, that would be phenomenal. If not, no worries. It's not, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if no one leaves a comment in the bit that comes up on my screen over here. This bit here. It says, "Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines." Down. So yeah, as soon as we do get a message in, you can hear me and you can see me, and I'm not just buffering. I just got a sprinkle of water on my head. That was a bit weird. I'm actually in. Well, I'm on. Anyway, I was out the front of the house, and I was talking to Ishmael, and I had the phone in my hand, and I was about to press on it. Like a bird shit on your phone. You get bird shit on you. People go, "Oh, that's good luck." No, it's not. You've been shot on by a bird. How can that be good luck? I don't think it's possible. So we've been going now for almost 4 minutes. We've got 7 people watching. I don't want to go off about things that have happened today until we get at least 1 comment, so I know that I'm going out, because otherwise I have no way of knowing this is actually working or not. It might just be people waiting, looking at a circle around and around, going, what the hell's going on? Why is Graham not talking? Well, maybe it's like frozen and I've got like a weird expression on my face. It looks quite low res as well, I've noticed, which is weird, because this morning when I was down at the boat dock, like my image going back to me on my phone looked pretty good, but this looks a bit naff. I watched back a bit of this show I did this afternoon, pulling down the chicken coop, and that had a. It started off, the quality was okay, and then it kind of went down in quality and then came up again. We've lost some viewers. I'm not thinking this is going out. I'm thinking this is not going out, which is kind of a bit rubbish. Maybe it's because I turned the camera upside down. I don't know. Was it because I turned my camera upside down? Or is it just dead late and everyone's in bed and no one can text because they're in bed and they're like, "What? Why are you talking to us?" Why are you talking to us? Um, yeah. Apparently that's the relight. I've got the relight on. Well, we've got 5 likes, 9 people watching. The likes, it's working just low res. Oh, fantastic. Oh, well, that's good. It's working just low. Okay, okay. Do you, I was gonna say I could go upstairs, but not be light set up or anything upstairs. Probably get a better. What do you reckon? Get a better signal? Get a better carburetor? Just hang on with me for a moment, and I'll go upstairs. It's very poor quality, vocals breaking a bit. Norman Collier. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go upstairs then, because then I know I'll get better signal. So let me just put my water in my pocket. Right. Okay. So we're going upstairs. So what I'll do is I'll turn my camera off for a moment. You'll be able to hear me, but you won't be able to see anything. And then when I'm set up upstairs, I'll turn the camera back on. I think. Okay. There we go. Sorry about this, everyone. I'll grab my laptop and my light. And oh my god, what is even happening here? Sorry, I've got to grab my light. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. Hope I don't drop my laptop, because that would suck. Just need to take my tissues and my little burning mosquito coil. I'm holding the same hand. Fire hazard. I'm just upstairs now. I think you can still hear me, you just can't see me. I've just turned the camera off. Oh shit, how do I open these doors? Ah! Okay, hang on. Oh, I'm having one of them days. Oh my god. Okay, right, door open. Fantastic. Oh, I need to go and get a chair to sit on. There is no chair. Oh, man. Okay. Right, put my laptop there. Hope it doesn't fall. And put my light there. Okay. So I'm just going to put you on the floor. Like that. And what I'll do is, I think, is... let's see if you can see me. Hello! I need to go and get a light, so I'll be back in a moment, okay? Back in a moment. You can look out to the... Oh, can you hear the rain? Okay, cool. I've got to get my chair set up. Just give me a moment. Oh man. Oh, should I be doing this when I'm not very well? I don't know. Actually, it's a good job that I moved up here because I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it's picked up quite a lot. And where I just was downstairs is now covered in water from the rain. So probably a good idea to come up here anyway. I just remember that we seem to get better signal from up here, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, my friends, generally speaking.
Right. Hey, there you go. Okay. I'm still very low res, but that's okay. Thank you for the 10 people who are sticking with this through thick and thin. It's one of those videos where I'm like, am I gonna have to delete this video after doing it? If you're wondering what I'm doing, it's not my phone is on a tripod. It was on a table, so it wasn't fully extended. I'm having to fully extend it now because I don't have a table. So yeah, woo! Okay, we did it. Hello. That looks better. That looks. It might just be me, but I think it looks like a little bit better. Maybe like 360 rather than 240. I've got nowhere to put my laptop though. But yeah, you're live pixelated. Hi all. Hey, says person impersonator. Hello. Okay, so next problem. The rain, my friends. The rain. If the rain is too loud and you can't hear me, sounds like English weather. Well, it's a tin roof. And it's absolutely lashing down with rain right now. So yeah, probably not the best combo. Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing tonight? I'm feeling pretty meh as usual, but then that's nothing new, says Leapshin. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Leapshin. I know misery loves company, so I'm really under the weather. Like, I am coughing, I'm blowing my nose, I'm also jet lagged, and I'm trying to like do work around the island, and I'm just sweating a lot, and there's a lot of stuff to do, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed. And there's all this shit going on in the world, which we do need to talk about. But the big thing, the big news story of the day for me is that Christy Noem, is she the one who killed the dog? Is she the puppy slayer? Yeah, Christy the puppy slayer. Turns out that she wasn't very good at her job, because her job was seemed to be strutting around making Instagram videos of her torturing people, sending them to torture camps. You know, like if the Nazis had Instagram, that's what Christy Noem, sorry, I keep calling her Kirsty. Sorry to everyone called Kirsty out there. Christy Noem's, you know, that was her beat, you know? That was like, imagine Nazis, but they had access to Instagram. Like, what would they put on their Instagram feed? Exactly what she puts on her Instagram feed. I'll tell you that now. But she's been replaced by a guy called what's his name? Kevin John or something, or what's his name? Wayne, something Wayne. Phil Wayne. No. Mark Wayne. Mark Wayne, who's going to be taking over, who is also problematic. Do you see it? Do you see a connection here? Do you see how it's all connected? I've been here long enough to see the channel name go full circle, says Miss Elby. And DTK says she was untrainable and had been sent off to a farm in the country. Mark Wayne Mullins, that's the one. Isn't he the guy who's got like Pimlico Plumbers, who was like dead against Brexit, but now he thinks that Nigel Farage is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm getting buffering here. Oh no! Maybe the boat dock is the only place where I can get a decent. I'll move back a little bit. Here's where I fall off the balcony and everyone's like, quick, call the emergency services. I'm quite high up here. I know you can't really tell, but I am. It's just got dark. I was going to start this show actually at 6 o'clock my time, so it would have started around 11 o'clock for you. But we've had a bit of a crisis here. One of the family members of Ishmael's family is not well, so he's had to go. And they have a thing here where you can give money to people via their phone numbers. It's called Yappy. It's really cool. It's I'm sure we have equivalents in the UK, but yeah, their version is called Yappy, and you can just text money if you've got a Panamanian bank account, which I do now. So I sent money to Leo, to Ishmael's brother Leo, and Ishmael just got off to meet him. It's absolutely pouring down out there. He's going to be getting so wet on the boat. It is not fun being on a boat in the rain, let me tell you. Fun on boats. Boats are one of the best, most amazing ways that humans can ever possibly go see the world, and also simultaneously the worst possible fucking way to see the world. If it's raining and your boat's got no cover, good luck. It's like having little tiny poison darts thrown at your face, being a sandblasting machine. So you got to take it easy. Also, they don't stop; you just keep moving all the time, and so you get seasick. You got to look out the horizon, and you got to stay on deck. I always find I only get seasick if I go below deck, on a boat, like on a little boat. No, I'm all right on the big boats, but like I go below deck and I'm reading or something. You know, my eyes are fixed on one place. And what apparently it is, and this is why we get motion sickness in cars when we're not looking forwards. It's because your brain registers that things aren't moving, but your body, your gyroscopes in your ears are feeling like you are actually, I know they're not really gyroscopes, don't at me. It feels like you're moving, but you can see from your eyes that you're not moving, and the only reason in nature that would happen is if you've been poisoned. So the nauseous feeling is your body's response to get rid of whatever poison you may have ingested, and that's why you feel sick when you are in on a boat or a car. You feel less on a train because there's not so many hard corners and you're not moving up and down the whole time like you are on a boat. But yeah, the other thing about boats is they go just remarkably slow. Like you could get like a massive speedboat and like you've got all these huge motors on it, like 500 HP motors, and it goes about 30 miles an hour. And yet you're kidding me, aren't you? Is that it? Is that it? You go like, wow, we're going so fast, like you go 30 miles an hour. Jesus Christ, you can drive faster than that outside the school on Saturday. I can hear you clearly now, apart from the rain. Video, not top quality, but acceptable. I'm glad that it's acceptable, Adam. It's in our DNA. Brits visiting the world on a boat. Well, that's true, yeah. Well, it is a rainforest. This is a I'm in a rainforest. I wish people who would come and stay on this island through Airbnb, who pay £39 a night for a queen-size bed for 2 people, and an entire house, and a kitchen, and a bathroom, and a flush toilet, not a composting, it's a flush toilet, and an entire island, like a whole island. And they're like, oh, that's not good value for money. Meanwhile, next door, I checked yesterday how much it costs to stay next door at Bocas Barley, and it's currently, because it's off season, it's only $1,519 a night, US dollars, not Zimbabwean dollars, US dollars. And I'm like, okay, guess that's value for money then, isn't it? Hello all, says Lil Allen. Hello. Lipton's getting some buffering. I'm sorry about that. Normally it tells me when it's buffering. Oh, do you know what? I found me super chat thing, but when I relocated up here at the beginning of the stream, I forgot to grab it. So if anyone leaves a super chat, I might have to go downstairs and get the super chat book. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a piece of driftwood with a super chat written on it, but it's written backwards because obviously when I'm using my phone to stream, it's actually everything's backwards. Am I acceptable for you? You can publish videos this quality later if you're posting on YouTube. When Dan says it was crap, no buffering here. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, Adam, I was just joking, mate. I was just... Don't make me laugh. I was buzzing. I wasn't like going, oh my god, it's acceptable to Adam. No, I was just having a laugh. Okay, so in the UK, you have now entered the 6th day of March. It's now March the 6th. So white rabbits and all that. No, it's not white rabbits, it's the 1st. We'll talk about Christy Noem. If I can get a name right, that'll be a good thing. Do you know what? She's the type of person who will get someone's name wrong on purpose. You know those people who do that? It does my head in. Like, I think it's so rude not to make a concerted effort to call people, A, by the name they want to be called, and B, like, pronounce it right. Learn to pronounce it right. Don't keep calling them the wrong thing. I honestly get really wound up, and I know that I shouldn't, but there's 2 ways of spelling Graham. There's a few, actually, but there's 2 main ways of spelling Graham. There's the Celtic way, or Celtic way, which is Grae, diphthong, M-E, Grime. Grime, which is Scottish. And one of my very close friends is called Graham, spelt that way. And then there's Graham, which is spelt the way I do it, G-R-A-H-A. And you know what? If you don't know who I am and you never met me before and you get it wrong, that's fine, you know? But if you're responding to an email and my name is at the top of the fucking email, can you spell my name right? It's literally, my name is my fucking email. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can you get that wrong? And this happens to Catherine all the time. there's lots of ways of spelling Catherine, and hers is with a K and with a Y, or Kathryn, and it's very very difficult. It's very very difficult to get the name out. But the one that bothers me the most, just between you and me, right, is when they assume that Catherine's surname means that I'm Mr. that surname, and I'm not. Yeah, which is just a weird thing that people do. They just assume, and I'm like, delivery comes to the door, and I'm like, that's not my name. Like the Ting Tings, that's not my name. And they're like, oh, okay, just assumed. I'm like, don't assume anything. I'm just in this house because I'm robbing the place, just scoping it out, like Ocean's 14 and a half. I don't think he'll be allowed the job. He's a senator, so can't be in the cabinet or something like that. Ooh, okay. Is this the new guy? Wayne, yeah. What's interesting, I think, about the sacking of Kristi Noem, it's been over a year since Trump got into office. It's been over a year and a month, right? He got into office near the end of January last year. Is this the first high-profile sacking? Is it? Can you let me know in the chat? Because the first time round, he went through secretaries of everyone like nobody's business. Wasn't the Scaramouche when you do the Fandango? Wasn't he only like in Trump's cabinet for like 8 days or something? Anthony Scaramucci. Do you remember? Scott in the chat. Scott, hello, Scott. Hello, Scott. How do people know he's in the Scott's in the chat? Hang on. Do you know what? I had it set to live, so I might be missing some chats. No. No. 11 days. 11 days. So yeah, but this time round, I mean, obviously he's picked the worst possible people from the start, who are completely useless at their job. And that's what bothers me. Like, for the rest of us who aren't Nepo babies, who weren't born with a silver spoon up our asses, like, we've got to be extraordinary. We've got to like go above and beyond just to be given a nod. Do you know what I mean? And these fucking little rich little twat babies, little techno babies, right? They grow up in this like gilded fucking universe where no one wants to tell them no. No one wants to say no. They're spoilt rotten. These spoilt little rich kids, right? And they can be as incompetent as fuck, and it doesn't matter. I've spoken about this many times before, and I hate to repeat myself ad nauseum, but the best example of like why I think that all of the private schools in the UK should be burnt down, right? And come on, I'd let the kids out first. I'm not a complete monster. It's because of Matt Hancock. Matt Hancock. We can put him on the top of a pyramid that starts with people like Boris Johnson and that horrible David Cameron dickhead. Even Tony Blair went to private school. You can put all those politicians in there. You can put all these horrible little fucking leeches, all these gobshite celebrities who are horrible. And I know that a lot of people went to private school, all right, but there's some talent there. I have no doubt. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's a great actor. He's really, really good. And Armani Iannucci, he's brilliant. Stuart Lee, he's funny as fuck. And that's great. I like those people. But it's not just that there is an uncomfortable number of people who are born into riches and treated like fucking royalty on both sides of the Atlantic, which is basically all the people that Trump hangs about with now. I think of Elon Musk. He's the ultimate Nepo baby. His dad owned a apartheid era emerald mine in southern Africa. I don't think it was in South Africa, was it? Was it in what's now Zimbabwe? Was it? I don't know. Musk kind of got kicked out sooner. He wasn't officially there anyway. Oh, that's true. Some nice ASMR going on in the background. Oh, that's a good idea, Lost Missionary. I'm going to make a note of that. ASMR raindrops. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just making a note on my laptop down here. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, it's not just that these little twats do that. And I know that some of them are talented. The ones that probably fuck me off the most are your Matt Hancocks. People who are absolutely useless at the job that they want to do. The Brooklyn Beckhams of this world. He's a shit photographer. He's a shit footballer. He's a shit cook. He's a shit fashion designer. He's just shit at everything he does. But he's got his parents who give him all this money to do whatever he wants. And then he marries some, I don't know, some heiress over in America. And he's like, oh, I fucking hate my parents now. And I'm like, oh, mate. You know, me and people watching this, I'm sure we will kill for those kind of opportunities. And do you know what? Most of us would be better at whatever it was we wanted to do. Pick something that we enjoy. And here's the clincher, right? That we're good at. Something that we're good at. You know, if you're shit at it, don't even fucking try. You're never going to make it. And the fact that you have an Eastern European, how can I put this delicately, lady of the night, a good time girl, a companion, a escort, a person who has sex for money, addressed a meeting of the UN this week because she got trafficked over to America by Jeffrey Epstein and ended up in Trump's orbit, and Trump dumped his second wife for her because she said in her very strong Slovak accent, I don't care who you fuck, I just want the money. And she's lived in the US for nearly 30 years, and the fact that she still sounds like the fucking bride of Dracula is another matter. But the fact that she's been put into that position, and I know she didn't grow up in wealth, I know she didn't go to private school, but like the people pushing her into that role and saying, yeah, you should do this. And she had this movie come out about it. I'm talking about Trump's wife, by the way, Melania. And Melania, well, whatever her fucking name is. I will be disrespectful and not get it right. There's a scene in the movie Citizen Kane in which Charles Foster Kane, he's a nepo baby born into loads of money, and he decides he wants to start he buys a little newspaper with the best of intentions, and then he goes evil and just uses it for political gain. And there's a bit where he gets married to a younger woman, and he decides that, you know, she wants to be a singer, so he helps her be a singer, an opera singer. She's out on the stage and she's like, ah! Sorry if you're listening through headphones and that was a bit painful, but yeah, it's like that. And then there's a famous scene where the camera pans up all through the lighting rigs, and you know, to the very, very top of the theatre. And there's two guys sitting on the top of the lighting rig, you know, while, you know, this woman's singing below them, and one of them just goes like this, and that's it. You know, just, she's shit, but she's been put in that position by her rich nepo baby husband. That's happened again. Why the fuck is Melania Trump addressing a meeting of the United fucking Nations? Like, what qualifications does she possibly have to do that? And this brings us back around to this whole thing of like, it's not what you know. It's not even who you know. It's what you know about who you know. And she knows a lot of things about Donald Trump. That's the only reason she hangs around. Keeps giving her money. She's very lingual. She can say that'll be $100 in 8 different languages. That's true. Sounds like Florence Foster Jenkins. I think they made a movie about her. Yeah. It might have been Namibia, which was Southwest Africa at the time, wasn't it? Weird place, Namibia. It's where they filmed Mad Max Fury Road. These amazing dunes that go down into the sea. It's the most spectacular deserts on earth, and in Namibia. But it used to be a German colony. It used to be a Billy Connolly. It used to be a Jennifer Connelly. Sean Connery. It used to be It used to be a colony, right, of Germany, and you go there now, and it hasn't been a German colony for over 100 fucking years, and yet you'll meet people still talking with a very strong, pronounced German accent when you go there. including people of African heritage. They don't- it's a bit of an odd place, but yeah. So beautiful though. I really recommend it. One of my top picks of the world, Namibia. One of those countries that no one's heard of. It used to be called Southwest Africa. Gun fact: boats, while not necessarily the fastest way around, are more or less the most efficient. Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know why it's a gun fact. I'm assuming you make fun fact, but yeah, they are. I mean, look at the canal network in the UK. I mean, that's one of the things why Britain did so well in terms of getting the trade around its own country. They were basically super highways at the time. And then you imagine these big fuck off ships that can take over, like, I think it's now up to 25,000 TEU. TEU stands for 20-foot equivalent units. They're your what I would call a half size box, a container. So you get the big ones, which are 40 foot, and then you got the 20-foot ones. This has been standardised for years now, since shipping containers became a thing back in, God, I don't know, the 1980s or something. 60s. It would have been earlier, wouldn't it? 60s maybe. Oh, I went off. Sorry. Hello, I'm back. Those ships can take just an insane number of boxes. So 25,000. So imagine 25,000 trucks with a 20-foot load on the back. I mean, wow, that is the 20-foot trailer. Stretched out in a line, that'll probably get you from Liverpool all the way up to Newcastle, I think. But there you go. Sorry, started that with the side boat. It's supposed to be a fun fact. Yeah, I know. It's alright. Oh, we've got Kristen Cruz in the chat. Hello, Kristen. Sorry, my glasses are steaming up. It's so hot here. My glasses are actually steaming up. I'm getting a little bit sweaty. Maybe I should have put the fan. There's a fan over there. I could get a fan and bring it out, but then we'll have more noise on top of the ASMR, which is the rain. But at least here in the house, it's a little less noisy than the boat dock, because the metal of the roof here is attached a bit better. On the other roof, we're going to have to replace the whole roof of the boat dock, by the way, while we're here. But yeah, I mean, it's only going to be the metal. I think all the wood is okay. But yeah, that all needs to be replaced. And if you follow me on Facebook, if you want to find me on Facebook, it's Graham David Hughes. I'm quite easy to find. If you follow me on Facebook, I put a thing up today about the bodega, as we call it, which is basically like a garage. It's more like a storage unit that we've got at the bottom of the garden, the south end of the island. And it used to be where we kept all the valuable stuff, and it's got these big 2 metal doors on it, which you could close and lock up. So, you know, there was boat motors in there and all kinds of stuff that we didn't want robbing. And it's gone into rack and ruin. It basically, the mangroves here are friendly mangroves, who we love. We love our mangroves. They don't play well with others. They don't play well with others. So if there's a tree really close to the mangrove, so like a palm tree or an oni tree or an almond tree or something like that, the mango will kill it. The mangrove, sorry, will kill it. The mangroves it'll take out a mango. The mangroves will take out a mango tree. And they do it with some kind of fucking acidic sap that they have. I don't know. It's lethal. So if your tree touches a mangrove, you'll know about it as a tree. But also, it can corrode metal. So I'm assuming some kind of like acidic whatever. And essentially down at the bodega, which has this metal roof, like what I have here, one side of it that's been touched by the mangroves, the other side hasn't. The other side's fine. One side of the pitch roof, this side of the pitch roof, it just all fallen apart. It is rusted to fuck. It's all hanging down. There's vines hanging out of it and stuff. So I went down there today and I was like, oh, I've got to tidy this place up. I've got to, sort this out. I'm like, is this worth fixing? I never used this. It seems a bit pointless to me. And then I had an idea. I thought we could just dismantle it. So I came up to Ishmael. Ishmael was working on the walkway which we're extending here near the house, and I said to him, mate, bodega, what do you think about just destroying it? And he's like, I'll be sold for that. Yeah, let's do that. So what we can do is a lot of the wood, a lot of this wood, this is treated pine that you buy in town. This is really good wood. This just survives. It reminds me of an old advert for Ron Seal, I think it was, and they had one of those old 60s cars, you know, with the strip of wood on the side of it. Someone in the chat will tell me what the name of the car is. And the rest of the car just rusted away effectively, and this strip of wood was perfect. It's a bit like that. So we can reclaim the wood. This stuff isn't cheap. This is high pressure treated pine, right? I know it doesn't really grow here, but the termites don't eat it. That's why you see so many buildings in the tropics that are built out of pine, which is weird because pine comes from obviously the northern reaches of the planet. But yeah, this wood is treated in such a way that the termites can't eat it. So we can get that, and also down there, like I say, there's a room with big metal doors on it. We could probably repurpose the metal doors, do something with it, maybe recycle the metal, I don't know. But I was also thinking we could smash down the breeze block wall around it with a big fuck off sledgehammer, and then we can use that rubble to fill in around the island in places where the wall isn't so good. Because one of the problems that we have, remember a couple of years ago when I was here, we bought loads and loads of soil, spent thousands of dollars on soil to build a little wall around the island. So we had a stone wall, and we've cemented that together, and then behind the wall we had soil so the water couldn't get in when we had the high tide. And it's worked okay. It's like 90% of the way there. But the big problem we've got is fucking crabs. We have so many mud crabs on this island. It's insane, and they leave quite big holes. They live under the soil, and they leave quite big holes, about that big. And if you walk along where we built the wall on the island side of it, it's just peppered with these holes. And basically, when the high tide comes in, the water's coming up through those bloody crab holes. So yeah, they won't be able to use little pincer things to get through hardcore. This is hardcore from the rubble that we will create by destroying the bodega. But yeah, like I was saying, boats, very efficient way of getting things around. It beats having 25,000 trucks, which is an insane number of trucks. And it'll leave you feeling crabby, absolutely. I think it's somewhere in the USA they cut them down for the beachfront places, but then climate change when half the houses floated away when the storm season hit. Yeah, Florida, they took away loads of mangroves along the coast of Florida because they, you know, their own ecosystem. They can smell, like if you get a really hot sunny day and the tide's quite low, because they kind of make a sulfur smell. I guess maybe it's sulfuric acid. Someone needs to look this up. Maybe it's sulfuric acid that these fucking things make. But yeah, they hold together the soil around the island, so the soil can't escape. And also, they are an incredible place for a nursery for small fish and things like that. They're also a fantastic carbon sink. They take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and it goes down into their roots, and they store it under the water. So as long as the tree is still there, it's still alive, it's still in the water, it's constantly sucking in carbon dioxide. And unlike most normal trees that also, you know, emit carbon dioxide, these mangroves, they really store it. There's loads of reasons to leave the mangroves be, and one of the things that I do love about this country, in Costa Rica next door, both of them have got rules that say that if you chop down the mangroves without permission from the government, you can face a fine or even a prison sentence. Which is the right thing to do. Absolutely the right thing to do. Living in a dynamic filter, yeah. But also another thing while I'm talking about the mangroves, it creates a living island. I think I mentioned this the other day. Like it's like Life of Pi in the book, where he goes to the island and it's alive. They will continue to make soil because they're not deciduous, but they do shed leaves. So obviously. Sorry, I just got a whiff of something. So I just got a whiff of smoke, which is always a worry when you're on the top floor of a wooden building. Just give me a moment. There's nothing burning now. Might just be the incense thing that I've got burning to keep the cheetahs away, the little things. Anyway, living islands. Anyway, so these mangroves, they're sucking up salt water, right? And they need to get rid of the salt. So on every branch there'll be one leaf that is nominated. They don't have a vote or anything, but they nominate one leaf on each branch, and that gets all the salt, and the other leaves get the water. I don't know how it does it. It's very clever, but basically each branch, one leaf, all the salt goes towards that leaf, and then the others get just pure water. And then that leaf is saturated with salt, turns yellow, and then it falls to the ground. And if you've got an entire mangrove forest, what you have is they just keep building the ground up over the years, over the decades, the centuries, the millennia. They just keep building the ground up. So they keep the island from falling into the sea when it comes to the soil, but also they create soil themselves when their leaves break down, when their leaves decompose, and create this very rich black soil. And also mangroves are also they are just an incredible type of tree. So I think there's 3 different types that we have here. We have red mangrove, we have white mangrove, and yellow mangrove. I think that's the right different types of them that they have here, and they're all sort of used for different things. But I know one of them, I think it might be the red mangrove, sorry, the red mangroves. You can make, you're not supposed to do this, but the indigenous people do. They make charcoal from the red mangrove, and it is the hottest. It is the hottest stuff on the planet. Like, this stuff can melt steel. Like, it gets so hot you would not believe. In fact, when they're talking about the blast furnaces in the UK being shut down for the steel production, I was like, can you use red mangrove? Can you use red mangrove charcoal? But obviously that would be another ecological disaster on top of the one that we're already having because of climate change. But yeah, really fascinating stuff. Yeah, and I mean, don't forget, I'm talking about the mangroves having lots of life in them when it comes to the roots and the fact that they're in the water and there's fish swimming in there. Obviously, if you are a little fish and you're swimming around all these little roots, then you're safe from any kind of big predator. You're not going to get a great white shark in the roots because they get snaggled up in it. You're going to get like a massive barracuda or a yellow-finned tuna or a dolphin. You're not going to get a dolphin in there or a nurse shark. It's just there's not they can't get through the mangrove roots. But also in the actual mangroves themselves, don't forget, we've got loads of birds living in there. We have parrots that come to the island. Never seen a toucan in the whole time that I've been in Panama and Costa Rica. Never seen a real toucan in real life, but I've seen a lot of parrots. Parrots are great. They go in these massive flocks. They're very noisy parrots, and they'll come and they'll stop on a tree, and they'll all talk to each other on the tree. And they'd be like, should we stay here? Should we stay here? Should we stay here? And like, oh, I don't know. And they had this big fucking conversation in the tree. It's like, it's almost deafening. It's so loud. And then they might decide to stay in that tree, or they might decide, nah, fuck this. And they go off as a big flock. And the maddest thing about parrots is they live to like 90 years old. You know when you see a pirate with the parrot on his shoulder, right? Or her shoulder, right? That's not that pirate's 4th parrot. That's probably that parrot's 4th pirate. Yeah, they are tremendously long-lived. Freakishly long-lived, some might say. We also have pelicans here. They build these massive fuck-off nests in the mangrove roots, so they're down on the ground. And that's kind of fascinating. And they are so huge. We had one under the house one day, many years ago, about 10 years ago. There was like I think my dog Campesino was barking, and I went downstairs to see what he was barking at, and it was this massive pelican, just absolutely huge. And I know that One Angry Pagan likes to talk about the fact that birds are dinosaurs. Yeah, when you see something like that, or you see a cassowary or an emu or an ostrich, you're like, yeah, they're dinosaurs. They're totally dinosaurs. Huge animals. Blue Badger says, Graham, those autocrats actually choose the idiots who are scared of them and letting them down, so they will do the nasty things out of fear. and they don't know that is or why it's illegal. Yeah. Hey, listen, in ICE, there's a lot of people who have Hispanic heritage in ICE, and that's so disheartening, isn't it? But at the same time, you understand why they're doing it, because if you're Hispanic and you're part of ICE, it's not going to be your family that's taken away, is it? The Maersk E-class, they have had to do work on ports all over the world just to get them into the ports. Yeah, yeah. So the biggest ships used to be called Panamax, and then they extended the Panama Canal here. They made it wider at the Miraflores locks and the other locks at the other side after Lake Gatun here in Panama. And now you can get these what they're called post-Panamax ships, which are just big enough to fit in those new locks. But there are ships that never go through the Panama Canal, and they can be as long as you like. I think the Evergrande, the one that got stuck in the Suez Canal, there's no locks in the Suez Canal. It's just a trench through the desert. I think that was one of these mega ships with just a ridiculous number of boxes on it. But you just got to think about that, like how many lorries it would take to transport that same amount of cargo. So yeah, and then ships. I know they do burn a lot of fuel. They also burn the dirtiest fuel, the bunker oil they use on big ships. Even on the cruise ships and stuff, they use the worst fucking oil, the worst method of propulsion. I really would like it if there was more push towards electric ships and ships with sails. Heaven forfend we actually use sails, because the mad thing is, like, you can have a boat, and the if you tried to lift up that boat, it would just crush you. But you can pull it. Like, think about a narrowboat on the canal. You can pull that narrowboat just with a rope at the front. You just pull it and it moves. It's insane. It's so cool. But yeah, and they also think that the way that the pyramids were built was probably through canals that brought the stones from Upper Egypt to from Upper Egypt to Lower Egypt, where the pyramids are. I think they built channels. There's talk now about this idea that they built the pyramids up like a big mound of stones, and then they chiseled away from the outside. I was talking about how to write, just basically just throw everything on the page and then come back to it and rewrite it. 99% of writing is rewriting. With the pyramids, there's a theory at the moment. Not that it was built by fucking aliens. It's fine. Black people from Africa can make amazing structures. They've been doing it for thousands of years. It's fine. Don't be racist. But they think that the way they might have done it is by literally just building it all up as like a big pile of rocks and then chiseling it away. And that's why it's so perfect. Because they think that if they started at the bottom, it'd be very, very difficult to get it that perfect. Yeah, they probably took a channel around the outside, and that's how they got it so level, without lasers or anything. Because obviously water finds its own level. Duh. Let's see what else we're saying. Now I'm the one in the same time at this channel. That is until daylight savings time hits this Sunday. I thought the film adaptation of Life of Pi was amazing. Yeah, it was really good. I just found it a bit heartbreaking that the VFX company that did the visuals for that film, because all the animals were computer generated, went under. They were really screwed over by the studio. But yeah, the actual film is amazing. Well, it's one of my favourite books, Life of Pi. I'm very into. I know Jan Mantell, who wrote it, is Canadian, I think, but I'm really into my sort of Anglo Indian novels, stories, Salman Rushdie, and the God of Small Things, and White Tiger. It's a fucking great book. Obviously going back to Salman Rushdie, Midnight Children is brilliant. The Satanic Verses is really funny, and I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting, because I grew up hearing Salman Rushdie's name and thinking he must write these very serious books, but they're not. They're comedies. They're funny. There's loads of wit in there, loads of wit and wisdom. But yeah, I'm supposed to be talking about Kirsty Noem on it. In addition to sodium and chloride, studies have shown that secretion can include magnesium, potassium, calcium, sulfur, and phosphorus. Are you talking about mangroves? Yeah, they're definitely sulfur. You can smell it. You can smell it. I thought Alder made some of the best charcoals. Was used in the filters and gas masks by British Army by memory. That's a different type of brilliance. It might be. A group of parrots is a pandemonium. That makes absolute sense because bloody hell, they make a lot of noise. They make a lot of noise. The Maersk E-class is 1,300 feet long. When I was on one of the cargo ships, one of the ones that was in the Pacific, and it was one that got me to the Northern Mariana and Guam, which aren't countries, but it also got me to Palau, which is a country, and also Yap, the island of Yap, which is part of the Federated States of Micronesia now. Yap is a fascinating place. It's the island of stone money. So you go there and you walk along, and they've got all these round stones at the side of the road, like hundreds of them, and they're all hundreds of years old. And basically, this was used for currency, I guess. These massive stone coins, like huge, like we're talking, about 3 foot diameter, right? And they all had a hole in the middle. And so what they used to do to get these coins is they couldn't get the granite that the coins were made of on their own island. So they'd have to sail like 1,000 miles south to Papua New Guinea. I think it was Papua New Guinea. And they would have to try and not get killed by the people in Papua New Guinea, who probably didn't like people turning up in their hood. And also, you had to dig out these. They had to quarry these stones, and then they had a hole in the middle. And what they used to do is get a piece of wood, and they used to ram the wood through the middle of the stone, and then tow it. So you'd have imagine a big log, and then there's a stone on the log. They might have had a few stones. I don't know if it was buoyant enough, and they would tow it on the back of their boat. This was like 500 years ago. This is, didn't have a motor to do this. They think of Moana. Think of the boats from Moana. Yeah, that was what they were using, and they'll get it like 1,000 miles or however far it was, back to Palau. Back to Yap, this island in what's now in the Federated States of Micronesia, and the value of the coin when it got back wasn't based on how big it was or how well crafted it was, well hewn it was. It wasn't about how long it took. Like, you didn't get any credit for it only taking a week instead of taking a 6-month expedition. The value of the coin was based on how many people died on the expedition to get the coin. So the more people who died on the expedition to get the coin, the more the coin was worth. And you think, God, that's barbaric. Bloody hell. Are we that different now? Are we? Are we? Do we not value things that kill? Diamonds, oil. Do we not value them more because people fucking die in the extraction of those fucking things? Just saying. Anyway, there's so many fucking amazing stories all over Polynesia. Well, I suppose Micronesia's Micronesia. There's Micronesia, Polynesia, Melanesia, the 3 main regions of the populated areas of the Pacific. Absolutely fascinating. If you do watch the movie Moana, which is one of my favourite Disney movies of all time, it's fucking fantastic. Moana 2, take it or leave it, but the original Moana. And what's wonderful about it, it's based on a true story, right? But it's based on real, what's the study of humans? Anthropology, whatever the word is. It's based on something that actually happened, right? So in the story of Moana, all these people who lived on boats for thousands of years stop sailing, and then Moana comes along. She goes on an adventure at Maui, and she comes back, and all the people say, "Let's go start sailing again." And that's the story. But that did happen. Not that a little girl, got the mischievous Maui to come and sort out, get the stone of Tififi. Is it Tififi? No, not the heart. The heart of Tififi. Not that. No, more to do with the fact that the Polynesian peoples sailed all over the Pacific, pretty much, and then they just stopped. They just stopped for 1,000 years. There is no record of any sailings. There was no new islands that were discovered, they just stopped. And then, one day, it's probably a Wednesday, they just started again. They just started sailing again. Crazy stories, and that's what the basis of Moana is. Maersk has bigger ships now through the Panama. Maersk owned Panama Canal harbors. Panama Canal, they're called Triple E Gen. They have 20,500 containers in one go. That's fucking crazy, isn't it? I think it was on these ship coming from Mauritius to Durban in 2012. That was a Maersk ship. It was fucking huge. Airships would be nice if the planet had just a little calmer weather. Yeah. Try the upper atmosphere of Venus. So they invented the polo, indeed. They did the mint with the hole. I just love that advert where they said, in the olden days, the hole in your polo was done by hand, and you saw someone like cutting a little hole out of a polo. And it says, that's all done by machines now, and it's like robotic hands cutting the hole out of the polo. Funny. Don't tell Trump that, for fuck's sake. Dragging heavy stones as money. We should get billionaires to do that now. So they can't outrun the pitchforks. Hey, listen, just to go talk about the billionaires at the moment. I don't know if you've seen one of the latest videos. I don't know if it was an old one, but I think it's one of the latest videos from Broken News and Larry and Paul, our friends Larry and Paul. They've got one about there being a game show in which billionaires are eaten, and it's just really funny. It's just really funny. Anyway, of course we'll never do that. But yeah, while we're talking about Maui, because people complain all the time about how Disney changes stories, okay? And yes, of course it does. The Lion King, based on Hamlet, obviously everyone doesn't die at the end. Sorry, spoilers for Hamlet. The Little Mermaid in the original Hans Christian Andersen story, she loses her voice, she gets her legs, and she turns up to see this prince who she's only seen from a distance, and he looks her up and down and he goes, "No, you're not for me," and he marries somebody else who he's madly in love with. And the sea witch says to the Little Mermaid, right, the only way that you can have him for yourself is if you go and murder her, and then the spell will make him fall in love with you, you know. And she Little Mermaid goes up to the palace or whatever. I can't quite remember this. I did read it a very long time ago. But it's something along the lines of she goes up to the palace and then she sees them together and she realizes they're so in love. She can't bring herself to do it. So she goes down to the beach. She goes down to the shore, and she cries herself to death and turns into seaweed. No, sea foam. She turns into sea foam. Cries herself to death. Yeah, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He fucking dies. Sorry, spoilers. Yeah, he fucking dies at the end of the book. Obviously, in the Disney version, that didn't happen. But there's one departure from the original stories, and obviously, look, the Frozen is based on the Ice Queen, and it is so incredibly different from the Ice Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. It's mad. Like, she's the villain. She's the villain in the book, the Ice Queen, and in Frozen, she's actually the hero. But in Moana, the character of Maui, the shape-shifting demigod, he's essentially Loki, but for Polynesia. He's the god of mischief, almost, right? Same sort of idea. He's always prattling around doing cool stuff, and he's like a force of anarchy. So basically, he's like Rick Mail. He's like Rick Mail, but he looks like The Rock for some reason. So in the original legends, how Maui dies is quite interesting. So how do I put this delicately? He gets eaten by a massive vagina. Yeah, you weren't expecting that, unless you already knew that. But yeah, that's literally what happens to Maui in the Polynesian legends. He gets eaten by a massive vagina. So just a little bit of context here. Him and his mates, right, there's a goddess, she's asleep, and he's told that if he can enter her vagina and come out of her mouth, I don't know, he will achieve immortality for humans, right? All of the humans, because he's obviously got one foot in the world of the gods because he's a demigod, but also he's got another foot in the world of the humans, and he loves humans, and he wants to try and impress them. He wants to show off, and so he turns himself into a worm so he can burrow himself into this sleeping goddess's vagina. And he tells his mates, whatever happens, don't laugh, all right? Don't laugh. Just don't burst out laughing while I'm doing this thing, to make all humans immortal. And they go, okay, Maui, we're definitely not going to laugh no matter what happens. And he turns himself into a worm. He starts going in. And unfortunately for Maui, not only do his friends burst out fucking laughing, cheers lads, good job. Also, the goddess has teeth down there, and she's like, "What the fuck, man?" Oh. And that's the end of Maui. I don't know how they will put that scene in a Disney film. It'd be fucking funny if they did. Anyway, true story. Native people vanishing for 700 years, then returning occurred on Laguna Beach, California. Oh, that's interesting. Dragging heavy stones as money. Oh, I've said that one. Bitcoin mining. Just last mission, you just put just exclamation marks. Like, what the? Anyway, talking about massive vaginas, we have the Trump administration, which is full of them. Kristi Noem has become the latest reminder that of the fact that no one can outshine the boss. That's the rule. If you're in Trump's orbit, don't outshine the boss. Because he runs the whole thing like a mob boss, doesn't he? There are enough caves in scenes in Moana, lol. Who the hell? What was that? How and who the hell came up with that? Good grief. Oh, come on. Is it that mad lost missionary? You try and explain. Just imagine you're a missionary, right? In the ye olde days, and you go to Polynesia, right? And you go to like Fiji, and everyone there's like, oh, hello, how you doing? And you try and say to them, listen, guys, you should stop eating each other. And they're like, well, we don't do that to anyone. It's just people who piss us off. Like you're pissing us off now, so we're going to eat you. And then the other person turned up, and the same thing happened. And then the other person turned up. These missionaries, balls of steel, I think. But maybe they had tasty balls. I don't know. A lot of them got eaten. But imagine trying to explain what we think is normal in Christianity. So what happened? There was a garden, and then there was a woman, and there was a guy, and they were told not to eat from a particular tree, and then they did. Oh, okay. Were they given a fine? No. They were cast out of the garden, and Adam was told that he had to toil in the fields for the rest of his life, and Eve had to suffer the pain of childbirth because God decided to make human babies' brains far too big to fit out of a standard human vagina. So that happened, and by the way, the person who told Eve to eat the apple, or it might be an apple, we don't know, it's just a fruit, was a snake. It was a talking snake. And that's why snakes have no legs. Because God was like, oh, you snake, that was naughty. Snake, I'm going to make you crawl on your belly. Anyway, so then they had a couple of kids called Cain and Abel. And Cain decided to kill Abel one day. So that was it. The end of the human race. Oh, no, actually, no. They managed to find some wives somewhere else. That was somewhere else. And then humans started to populate the planet. And then God looked down and went, I don't like this. Don't like what I've built here. It's shit. Let's start again. So he gave the Etch-a-Sketch a bit of a shake, He said a flood. So this guy called Noah, he built this ship. A ship the size of a small country. Because he had to fit 2 of every animal on the planet into the ship. Including all the predators that could only eat the other things on the ship. Including the kangaroos, the Komodo dragons, even though we wouldn't know that they existed in the West for a very, very long time. Anyway, so that happened. And then there were these cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, and God didn't like them. So he sent the angel of death down. So poor old Lot, who was the only honourable person living in these cities, was told, get out, but you're not allowed to turn around. You're not allowed to look, all right? You and your family, your wife and your 2 daughters, you're not allowed to look. You're not allowed to turn around and look. And someone said, oh, that sounds very familiar. Wasn't that the story of Orpheus in the underworld when he went down to rescue Eurydice? Eurydice? Whatever the name is. And then he turned around at the last minute and she got dragged back into hell. Well, Hades. Anyway, so his wife turned into a pillar of salt. So then poor old Lot, he's up there in the mountains in a cave. Probably the cave from Moana. And he's with his 2 daughters. And they're like, shit, everyone's dead. Everyone's dead, Dave. Dave, everyone is dead. Dead is everyone, Dave. And so they're like, well, what are we going to do? We need to have children. Like, okay, we need to hatch a plan here. Why don't we get our dad drunk and rape him? So that's in the Bible. Anyway, so then Samson comes along and he's like, hey, hello, how you doing? I'm going to kill everyone who I don't like the look of. Which isn't very nice. And he marries Delilah. And so he has to set a riddle for some reason. And he says, out of something strong I took something sweet. And this was basically about the fact that he had had a singular experience in which he had found a lion's carcass that had bees in it. And it had honey in. And like he said, if you can solve my riddle, I'll give you 17 coats. Or something. 27 coats. 47 coats. I'll give you some coats. And they went, okay. And then Delilah, who knew what the answer to the riddle was, went out and she went, he took some honey from a lion. And they're like, oh, did he? Okay, cool. Honey from a lion, they shouted up to Samson. Samson was pissed off about this. So he went, I'll get you your fucking coats. So he got the coats by killing the people who were wearing coats. Just innocent people who had nothing to do with any of this. Just turned up, he killed them all. And he gave the people blood-stained coats covered in the bits of flesh and bone and sinew and whatever was left of the corpses that he had raided for these coats. And there you go, there's your fucking coats. They didn't like Samson, so in the end they put him in a temple, and they chained him up between 2 pillars. The temple was full of people, men, women, children. Aardvarks, I don't know who goes to temples. And as his last act as a living human, he pulled the pillars of the temple together, and the temple collapsed and killed everyone in it. Samson, world's first suicide bomber. Cool and normal. And then there's another story in the Bible. There's a story about this guy I think he's a Levite, and he's a priest. And he goes to this town with his concubine, and he stays at this guy's house. And the guys, some worthless men from the town, turn up outside, and they say, we want to have sex with that concubine. She's cute. We like her. And the owner of the house says, no, there wasn't the concubine. Sorry, they weren't interested. They wanted, the guy whose house it was, they wanted his son. They wanted to have sex with the guy's son. Because, homosexuality didn't exist in the Bronze Age. Of course it did. Anyway, so they say, but like, your son out. We fancy your son. Let's get him out here and we'll all have sex with him. And the priest, the Levite, says, no, do not do such a terrible thing to this man and his boy, Here's my concubine. You may abuse her all night, just leave the son alone. Nice sexist story there. So he throws this poor woman out onto the street, and she is gang raped. Sorry, spoiler. Also trigger warning. Until the morning, and then in the morning she's lying on the step, right? And the Levite comes out, kicks her, and goes, "Oh, get up!" And she doesn't move. She's dead. She's been raped to death. So the Levite does what anyone else would do in this situation, and puts her on the back of his donkey, fucks off out of town, cuts her into 8 pieces, and sends her 8 body parts to different parts of the country, saying, "Look on this, consider." Do you want to try and explain all this to the Polynesians? Because this is why so many of them got eaten. I haven't even started on Jesus yet. So what do you do each week? Well, we don't eat people. Okay, what's this? Oh, that's representative of Jesus' body. It's a bit of bread. Well, actually, it's a wafer. So you eat a wafer, and that's representative of a dead body. Yeah. And the wine, that's representative of blood. So if you were to eat someone, like, that would be cannibalism, right? Yeah. And you eat your own god. Yeah. Do this in remembrance of me, he said. Eat me. Gotta eat me. Gotta consume the god to become the god. Yeah. Yeah. So there was a guy who was a missionary down in the Victorian era, down in West Africa. And it was the 1890s, I think. So it was during the whole scramble for Africa bullshit, right? And he was trying to convert people down there from the animist beliefs that they had for millennia to Christianity. And the story about this guy, he was there for months and months and months. Couldn't get anyone to convert. It just sounded really silly to them. They were like, so there's a God and he loves us, yeah. But why does he make people suffer? Well, because he loves us so much. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, the old Greek gods and the Roman gods, the Egyptian gods and the Nordic gods, they kind of make sense to me because they're essentially humans with superpowers. And so they suffer from the same issues that humans suffer from, like jealousy and anger and spite and the need for revenge, etc. That makes sense to me. I mean, I know it's a myth, but it makes more sense than a god of love who also creates mosquitoes. And as David Attenborough likes to point out, also creates a particular worm that lives in rivers in Africa that burrows into children's eyes and makes them go blind. Why'd you do that, God? What's that about? That makes no sense. But yeah. So be careful when you say that other people's myths and legends are a bit potty, because ours are too. Simple as that. They're just very silly and daft. And, you know, stories. Just sat round the campfire, we told each other stories. Humans remember stories. They remember jokes. In a way that we just don't remember data. At least with us pagans, we don't pretend that gods are all pure and good. Woden, Odin and Thor pair pricks quite often. Tulsi Gabbard gleefully brags about eating her goose. Oh God, I can't even finish saying that. Oh God, that's made me feel a bit ill. I might vom. Okay, I'm gonna have to read something else quick. Do you think Noah built an aquarium for two of every sea creature and felt like a tit when the boat started to float? Lol. Well, here's the thing. If you get a saltwater fish and you put it in fresh water, it fucking dies. If you get a freshwater fish and put it in salt water, it fucking dies. So yeah, he must have had fucking massive aquariums with fucking blue whales and orcas and sharks and yeah. And those deep sea creatures that we only found out about a few years ago live on thermal vents. Perhaps we can get AI to change the Disney movie. I used AI to put Wagner music on Lord of the Rings. I did about 15 minutes. It should definitely be done on the entire film. That's a take. What's wrong with Howard Shaw's score? I like his score. Great stuff. Who came up with that? Good grief, says Lost Machine. So, fair play, it's all normal then. Yeah, exactly. Dragon Marine says sorry. Oh. Do you know, there's like some things in life I just don't want to know. You know, I just don't want to know. You know, if it's making someone else happy, great. But yeah, I'd rather just leave me out of it if you don't mind. Anyway, so Trump has said. Sorry to go back to the forum. Christy Noem. Trump has said, "I thank Christy for her service to at Homeland. Her service at Homeland." Being a Homelander, I guess, and she's been absolutely horrific. She wore a $50,000 Rolex during a visit to Seacot, the notorious prison concentration camp in El Salvador. She spent loads of money on makeup and having her hair done. It led her critics to call her Ice Barbie. The South Park lot did a skit of her where every time she was left to be in public for more than a few minutes, her face would start to melt, and they had to, like, you know, the stylists had to come along and put it all back together again. And every time she saw a dog, she shot it, because she literally shot a dog. She shot a puppy because it was annoying her. And then bragged about it in a book she wrote. I mean, she's a fucking monster. When she shuffles off this mortal coil, I will not shed a tear. I don't think anyone on this planet will shed a tear. Trump certainly won't. All the fucking knobheads around him. And then Sarah says, I hope Graham is doing an all-nighter. I need distraction from the pain in my foot. I'm sorry, I can't go on forever tonight. I will have to get off at some point. I have to charge my phone. Are they still getting the Gulf jets now? I don't know. Talking about jets, my friends, you know that the war in the Middle East, as we call it, even though it's Central Asia, West Asia, can we call it West Asia? Because it is West Asia. South Asia's India. East Asia is China and Japan and Hong Kong. And then Southeast Asia is obviously the Southeast Asian countries. So West Asia. Azerbaijan just got attacked today by Iran. It was just firing rockets in all directions because they're like, fuck it. I know you all hate us, so you can put up with this shit. There's fascinating things going on at the moment with these millionaires in Dubai. I know we talked about this a lot at the beginning of the week, but there's a lot of them trying to get out, and it's costing like $100,000 for a ticket out on a plane. And I'm sitting there going, get a fucking bus. What is wrong? What is wrong with these fucking people? There's buses to Jeddah every day. I know. I got the bus from Dubai via Riyadh to Jeddah. I got on that bus and then I got the same bus back to Dubai. It leaves once a day. I'm sure they could put more buses on. And it's not as though the Iranians are just blowing up fucking buses. They're attacking buildings and oil installations and things like that, you know. So there's that. And then it's the way they're going, we're not going to sympathy. Everyone's laughing at us. Everyone's laughing. And I'm like, well, a lot of you did brag about going somewhere where you wouldn't have to pay tax. So enjoy not paying tax. Cool. But here's another weird thing, right? There are some millionaires who are now actively trying to get in to Dubai. So the airspace is closed, right? You're not going to believe me on this. You can look it up. Essentially, you know, I've gone through this whole thing about getting residency here in Panama, right? And obviously, I won this island like 12 years ago, so I've got a lot of history here. In fact, the end of in just a few days' time, it will be 12 years to the day since I first came to this island. It might actually be today. I'm gonna have to look that up on my blog and see when it actually was. But there's a rule about residency in Dubai that you have to spend X many days a year in Dubai, and then you can claim that that's your residency and you don't have to pay tax at home. So these millionaires, right, are like, shit, I haven't got enough days in, I need to go back to Dubai, or I'll end up having to pay tax in Britain or Ireland or France or Australia or where the fuck they're from. And they're more scared of having to pay their fair share in tax than they are of missiles and drone attacks coming over from Iran. I mean, we often talk about the rich being sociopaths, but wow. Wowzers, trousers. Apparently, according to Trump, firepower over Iran is going to surge dramatically, they say, as Israel declares the next phase of the war, because Israel is doing this. This isn't, the Americans are just following along, they're just following along. The Israelis under Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been saying for 30 years that they're just one step away from nuclear weapons, nuclear Armageddon. But yes, on the story about Kristi Noem, they're saying that Trump has cut his losses on her, and the US, right, here's a story for you. The US has asked Ukraine for help. Do you know what for? Combatant drones. because the Ukrainians for the last 4 years have been dealing with these drones coming over from Russia, and they're pretty pro at getting rid of them now. And the Americans don't have any experience. The Americans are actually going to the Ukrainians for help. That is kind of crazy. So also Lionel Messi and Inter Milan went to meet with Trump in the White House today. Unfortunately, I guess the what's it called, the World Cup's still going ahead. Is it? Is it still going ahead? I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, the richest tax dodgers won't take the bus. Denmark has hired a plane to bring the Danes home, but made the paying for it themselves. Personally, I think we should let them stay. They won't slum it on a bus. I know. They won't slum it on a bus. They could get out easily. There's a bus every day. In fact, they could just fucking hire one. It'd be cheaper. It wouldn't cost $100,000. I'll tell you that now. West Asia. West Asia. Yeah, that's what we should call it. The Middle East is a bit of a weird term for that part of the world. No one really talks about this. So obviously, we talk about Central Asia, which makes sense. Now all the countries that are called Stan. It's in the middle of Asia. It's Central Asia. And then we've obviously got East Asia. Southern Asia is a thing. You know, that's the Indian subcontinent. And then Southeast Asia, obviously that's a thing. You can buy what they call the Yellow Bible, the Lonely Planet Guide to Southeast Asia on a shoestring, right? So where's the Middle East come from? It was because back in the day, the Near East was Turkey, essentially, even Greece, even, you know, Romania, Bulgaria. And the Far East was China, and then the Middle East was everything sort of in between. But it was a bit of a woolly phrase, and I don't think it really works in terms of lumping countries together. Obviously, countries that are geographically near each other tend to get lumped together. But yeah, it does seem a bit weird to call it the Middle East, like an arcane term, I guess. And as everything else, it's North Africa, it's West Africa, it's Southern Africa, it's West Africa. Same in Europe, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, obviously in Northern Europe, I guess. And then all the countries around the Mediterranean, the Southern Europe lot. So let's use West Asia. I like that. That sounds better. Seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton says, I'm going to be here until that happens as he pushes for a Grand Prix in Africa. He wants to see an African Grand Prix before retiring. That would be really cool. And there's been a shooting in Austin, Texas, and there's body cam footage from the cops. If you watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, he's done a big thing about body cams this week. If you've got a VPN, if you set your VPN to, I don't know, Panama or the US, and then go onto the YouTube page, it's just standard YouTube page, and look up John Oliver, you can watch the show. The main segment from the show. It's not the whole thing. They tend to clip the beginning and end off. But yeah, you know, the actual investigation bit of the John Oliver show on Last Week Tonight, you just watch it for free on YouTube. It's great. Due to drones, the Ukrainians handed NATO their arsenal exercise last month. The Ukrainians, yeah, absolutely. I saw a picture of you with a sign saying 201 not out. That was a hell of a mustache. Yeah, that was November 2012. I kind of regret that now, because when you type my name into Google, it's a lot of the images that come up of me with this ridiculous moustache that I grew because I thought it was funny at the time. But yeah, good to go, Graham. Good stuff. Once you moved upwards, Adam. Cheers, ads. Cheers, matey. Trump and Hegseth and Central Command Admiral Brad Cooper. Didn't he play Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They've said the US has got plenty of munitions and can sustain its campaign against Iran for as long as it needs to. The US bomber force has struck nearly 200 targets in Iran in just the last 72 hours and sunk over 30 of Iran's ships. And Trump says he'll have a... Oh, sorry, Pete Hegseth, who's a rapist, said Trump has a hell of a say on who will run Iran. He's a drunk as well, a drunk, an alcoholic, and a rapist, and a racist. A number of US allies have stepped up to help, says Pete Hegseth. Who, PC? Who? It's just the US and Israel as far as I can see. I mean, some countries have said, oh, we'll put on a flight to get people home. The UK has said, okay, well, if we need to put defensive things in the sky to stop our bases getting bombed in Akrotiri in Cyprus, then yeah, okay, we'll do that. But don't forget the whole thing about Trump kicking off about Diego Garcia, the island that he couldn't remember the name of the other day. He literally. Hey, hey, I'm live again. Okay. Hey, I'm live again. Okay. If you can hear me, I don't you can, and my connector, my power bank thing has also run out of batteries. My phone's on a couple of minutes downstairs to get it to charge. My power bank thing has also run out of batteries. My phone's on a couple of minutes downstairs to get it to charge up, just to say hi. So I'm going out. See you tomorrow at 1 o'clock down at the boat dock, okay? 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Listen to James O'Brien and then come play with me, okay? It won't let me stop. It won't let me stop the stream. I don't even know if you can see this, but if you can, have a good night, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. It's not letting me do anything here. Oh, shit. What do I do? What do I do? Oh. What do I do?